Hi, y'all. I'm Dorinda Hancock. As Jason said, I've been here since 2013. I am the co-organizer, along with Kim Gibson, of the Pink House Defenders. We are volunteers who escort patients from their cars to the clinic door, past what a lot of y'all saw this morning on the sidewalk, with the speakers and the fetal porn signs and the bullhorns. And these people have given their time and their energy selflessly for all these years to do this. And now we're going to say goodbye very soon. Today, across this country, half the population were stripped of their human rights. It's hard to say this, but that's just the beginning. Those religious terrorists that you see on our sidewalk are obviously in the legislature now, in the Senate, across the nation. The 13 states that think they're going to be safe when this is over will not be safe. The antis have told us they're coming after them too. Then birth control, and then the LGBTQ community and same-sex marriage. These people are not going to be done until this nation is a theocracy. I'm proud to say that there will still be clinics for, I hope, as long as possible, offering the services needed, and I hope that the women of Mississippi are able to get there. It's important that people donate to abortion funds and practical support funds right now, and more important that you, the media, get the word out there that these funds exist, because people aren't going to know if you don't tell them. And you need to tell them that. You need to let them know that it's still out there and that they still have a shred of bodily autonomy left. So we're going to be here. The Pink House Defenders will be in this parking lot as long as the Pink House doors are open. And then hopefully shortly after that, Diane will cover that, the Pink House West will be open and people can get there. But even though the Pink House Defenders will be more or less laying down our torches, it doesn't mean we'll be done. Stay tuned for Jezebel Rebellion.
Hey guys, do you hear me? I'm Diane Durzis. Thank you for being here today. It has begun.
Recording in progress.
It has begun. And in the next few days, the next few weeks, and within the next year, you will see half of all the states in the United States of America not have abortion services within its border. We are continuing to provide services, and women like me, and there are many throughout this country, will be doing the same thing. And I tell you today, we're not laying down, we're not giving up. Women have always had abortions, no matter what it took, even if it was their life. And we're going to make sure that that's not on the line here. You'll talk with Shannon in just a few minutes. She's at our Las Cruces facility in New Mexico. That is the new Pink House West. And we plan pink houses throughout this country. And again, we're not the only one. There are other women just like me, many of them, who will not stop what we've been doing, this important work, all these years. It has been such an honor and a privilege to be in Mississippi. I've come to love this state and the people in it. The fact that we're not here doesn't mean we're not going to see Mississippi women and whomever needs us. As Dorinda pointed out to you, there are many funds. People have reached deep because of the outrage that is occurring right now, to make sure there's money for women to travel child care, and abortion service money. The Pink House Fund is our nonprofit 501c3 arm that will also help pay for that, but there are other funds in this country, and they're all doing that kind of care. I've been doing this, I was trying to think, and it's 46 years, so I'm the past. Like the Pink House soon will be the past. And let me put this out before I forget. The law in Mississippi says that we have 10 days to remain in business from the moment the Attorney General of Mississippi signs the certification. Now, I would bet money that that certification was awaiting her office today when she got there. So that means that we will be open for the next 10 days, and we'll be seeing patients for the next 10 days, even if they have to do what they've done so often, and that's come through this kind of terrorism. I want to thank the defenders, because without them, you would not have still been open. They have been selfless with the services they've provided. Thank each one of you for what you've done and what you continue to do. But now let me introduce Shannon, a woman you all know, I think. She is the executive director of all of our clinics. She is going to be the executive director of Las Cruces. I'm not sure she's not moving there. I guess she'll let you know. She's the woman who was on Time magazine and looked quite gorgeous, and she is one ferocious woman. So I'm the past and she is the future, and I am just so honored to introduce you to Shannon Brewer. Hey, Shannon.
Hello, everybody. I didn't, of course, I never make a speech, so I kind of just speak what's on my mind. And right now, today is a tough day for me, for Diane, for everybody at that clinic. And we have been preparing, but nothing can really prepare you for the actual day that it comes down. I came to realize that when it came down today. I just want to start first and foremost. I want to let Diane know you are not the past. You're never going to be the past. You are. You're history. You made history. You fought until the end. You said you weren't giving up.
I'm not, baby.
I know that, and I made a promise to you. As long as you were fighting, I'm going to fight you. And I think, and we did it.
We did it.
Those are the things that we can be proud of. This is a hard day for my staff. It's been a hard week for my staff, for the defenders, our doctors, patients, everybody. It's been a whirlwind this past week. I am so thankful for every opportunity that I've ever gotten, all the people I've ever met through this, the fact that I can not be at the clinic and know that everything is okay because of the people that we have on the grounds there. The defenders, you guys, there are no words to thank y'all. Miss Betty, I spoke with her. That's who brought me in many years ago. I will love her and appreciate her until the last day. Susan Hill, I appreciate her. She's the one who started this fight in Mississippi at this facility. We will always appreciate her for that. The doctors who, through all of this, they continue to fly in and out every week to see patients. My staff, who are about some of the strongest women I've ever met, and even up until today while we're doing this, they're still talking to patients and seeing patients. So those are the things that I try to focus on. I'm not trying to focus that everything is completely gone because we're still here, we're still fighting, we're just fighting in a different place. I feel bad for the Mississippi women because these are the women that are needing these services and can't get these services. The very ones who are going to be needing it the most are the ones who won't have access to get it. That's why we're trying to do all of these things to help with transportation and everything through the Pink House Fund, because I can keep moving forward, but there's something about Mississippi, I understand Mississippi women. I understand everything about their struggles and everything they go through, because those are the same struggles I've gone through in my life. Nothing about what went on today is going to tell me that this was right. They have passed this gun control thing. My son was killed a month ago, and they passed that. And yet, they're concerned about the children. You're never going to make me believe that you're concerned about the children when people are out here dying every day. Gun control is out of hand. And this is what you're focusing on, women, taking over women and controlling their bodies. You're never going to make that right for me. And until somebody changes my mind, which I know that won't happen, I will continue to fight for women. Wherever I am, wherever I'm going to be, I'm going to continue to do this, because I know that this is what I was meant to do. Thank y'all.
She's marvelous.
Thank y'all.
Questions?
Yes. So now we'll take questions. Again, we'll go live and then Zoom here. I know y'all in the heat, so we'll try to be as quick as possible. So, questions here live. Anybody questions? Right here.
Hi, I'm Lane Alexander with NBC News. Can you just kind of talk about the traffic that you've seen from patients and what you're expecting over the next 10 days? Are you expecting traffic to go up, to see more women? Have you had more people trying to get appointments?
I think so. I think it's important that we realize that a lot of people don't pay attention to the news. You know, I mean, we've seen Texas women that couldn't believe they couldn't get an abortion in Texas. So, yes, I do expect to see that, because I think as soon as you see illegal overturned, first there's that fear of, oh my God, what do I do? But yeah.
Have you already seen those numbers going up?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. We don't have anything on Zoom, so another right here.
Amber Cunningham, Mississippi Center for Investigative Reporting. There are polls that show that most Americans support not overturning Roe versus Wade. Do you have a sense of what if that's true for Mississippi as well?
Absolutely, it's true for Mississippi. I will say to you, the warmth and the way that we have been welcomed within this community, not by everyone, because I will say to you, if I were a business owner here, I would not want us either, because we bring a bunch of baggage, trash with us, and that's been a problem for their businesses. But yes, the people in Mississippi are not any different than anywhere else. They support a woman's right.
And if they are against abortion, would they help someone who needed an abortion?
I think so, yes. And I think that's what we forget here. You know, these aren't women that just are out in the universe. These are your sisters, your daughters, your wives, your aunts, your nieces. And then it's a lot different. You know, abortion's something we can all think about, but when it's our family or somebody we love, it's a different matter.
All right. Go right here, Ross. Yes, Reed.
Nadia Romero with CNN. Can you talk about after the 10 days, if a woman in Mississippi wants to seek care? You talked about the fund that's available. Are you helping to transport women to other states? And a follow-up to that, are you concerned about those states that are trying to criminalize people coming and leaving and going, or states that it happens?
Absolutely. I think we're all in for some eye-opening experiences. None of us know what's actually going to happen there, but these people are mean, evil. We've watched them for years. I know them. And they mean to take away this right at no matter what cost. So I'm definitely concerned about that, and it's time for the people in this country to go to the polls and vote only pro-choice individuals. We wouldn't have these guys on the Supreme Court who just did this. And I hope many of you saw what Clarence Thomas put in his opinion today, and that is, we're going for your birth control, we're going for gay marriage and gay sex. And that's in the decision. They're coming for you next unless we get them.
Can you talk about that woman after 10 days? How do you help a woman from Mississippi?
Thank you, I missed that. That infrastructure is not fully in place now, but the funding has been here for some time. It's not just our funding, it's funding all over the country. So we know how to put her in touch with those individuals and figure out which is the closest clinic. You know, there'll be women who are able to afford a plane ticket, and if they can hop a plane and get into Las Cruces, or Baltimore, Maryland, or wherever, Chicago, Illinois, then that wherever is the easiest to get her in, because her needs have to come first. I would be surprised if they didn't. You know, but for all these years, I've wondered, how do you go to the ranch in Reno, Nevada, and seek prostitutes where it's legal, and they don't get you when you come back to Jackson? I mean, we go to Biloxi and gamble, and it's illegal in other states. I don't know. I guess it's going to be interesting to see how far these justices are willing to subvert what we call the Constitution.
Diane, have you heard from other abortion providers about the seriousness of the situation in Mississippi and what they can do to help?
Yes, and I think you'll see that coming together even more. You know, in those states that are where it's illegal, there are still people who will do ultrasounds, so we'll know where someone will know how to date someone when she phones another clinic. Hopefully, whether or not they can see that patient when she returns home. You know, all of these are questions, I guess, that we're going to find out the answers to in the next few days or weeks.
We have a question online from Metro. Dan, what is going to become of the Pink House in Jackson if or when the staff leave? What will happen to the building and what it stands for?
The Pink House, while it's a wonderful building, is just a building. The people who made this building what it is are inside it, and Shannon, who happens to be in New Mexico. And that will continue because that's our spirit, and that's what we do. We do abortion, and we're proud to do abortion. We do it safely, we do it wisely, and we are going to continue to do it. So the Pink House will have pink houses all over this country if I have anything to do with it. Thank you.
So when you talk about 10 days, what kind of capacity does the Pink House have? How many patients can you see a day? And how many patients can you see over 10 days if you really,
I don't know, but I will tell you that any patient who contacts us, we'll see them. We'll make sure we see them during that 10 days. A woman should not have to leave the state to obtain medical care. You know, a woman should not have to do that.
Yeah, Diane.
Yes.
So will you be officially notified by the AG's office or by state officials when you have permanently closed the door to the clinic?
I'm not sure, but I would think so.
I'm sure the lawyers are going to work.
Yeah. Thankfully, we do have lawyers, so we know we can trust our lawyers, so let us know.
Have you heard from any of the state elected officials?
No. No. And I don't think everybody's happy in Mississippi. I think that many people in Mississippi, that this is as rough on them as it is on us. I mean, this is a horrible shame that we are saying to the women in this state, when you're #1 in infant mortality, #1 in teenage pregnancy, #1 in maternal mortality, we don't even want to give them money to buy formula, but we can tell them they can't have an abortion. So it's a shame.
Diane, the governor released a statement today, and part of that he talked about wanting to do whatever necessary to support mothers and children. Can you go into where Mississippi stands? You talked about maternal mortality, foster care, adoption. Those are big problems in this state, and there are a lot of states that have these anti-abortion trigger laws.
Well, I think, unfortunately for this governor, who is white and privileged, that a lot of those women who make up those statistics are not white and certainly not privileged. And it's easy to not bring them to mind when I guess we're talking about money, that they're giving $300 million tax incentives to people who give money to crisis pregnancy centers. Because my question to you would be, if there's no abortion clinic in Mississippi, why do you need a crisis pregnancy center? Why do you need to take money out of the hands of agencies that are here to help women and their children and give them to crisis pregnancy centers when they get hundreds of thousands of dollars from the federal government? I mean, check that out. Someone needs to look at this. They get big money on this. But it's, you know, black women die here at unbelievable rates in pregnancy. That is shameful. This should not be happening in 2022 in America. You know, you care about them in the womb only, not when they get here. That's shameful.
Dan, what do you think needs to change in the state, though? Because
I don't think we're going to see that in our lifetime, or maybe your children's lifetime, unless people get to the polls in 2022 and you send a direct message that that the most important thing you're worried about is whether or not a woman does have this decision, or whether you want to be prey, because that's all we are right now, prey, just waiting for them to come and get you. I think that we have to go to the polls and we have to take back our rights. We thought this was a right. Clearly it wasn't. It's a privilege that we no longer exist. And, you know, for those people who told me over the years that I was a fool, that there's no way this will ever be overturned, I say to you, wake up, America.
Do you have a message for young people who have grown up with legal access to abortion their entire lives? How monumental of a shift is this for them?
Got to be unbelievable, because you're absolutely right. They've never known a world without it. And that's also a problem, because most women don't think of that as something there until they need it, you know? But they're coming for birth control. They said that today. There is no right to privacy in the Constitution, and that's what Griswold v. Connecticut was based on, the right to have birth control. They're coming for that. They're coming for gays. They're coming for anybody different. It's time we took their tax money away from these churches. It's time we got involved. I mean, we're going to have to, each one of us.
What do you think this could mean for people that are using these type of clinics for other things other than just abortion, like ultrasounds?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're up a creek. They're up a creek. You know, we do many things beside that. I mean, pregnancy tests, and a lot of our patients want to be pregnant. That's what this is about, it's choice. Women have the option to make their own choice about what's right for them at this time in their life. Gynecological care, all of that. Yeah.
Mississippi does not have a ballot initiative process. I'm just curious, would you support an effort to, one, restore that process? And if it's restored, put access to abortion on the ballot for voters to go to the polls to vote on?
I don't live in Mississippi, but I would say yes, if you lived here, that is the way that a voter and a person in this state is able to affect change. So I think it's funny. I read an article about John Grisham, the author, and he went to law school here and practiced here, and he was talking, he was in the legislature as a moderate Democrat and said, I could never get elected today because it's gone too far to the right. That hurts all of us.
How do you think this is going to affect birth workers in the state of Mississippi and across America, so doulas and midwives? How do you think it's going to affect the work that we do? I'm a male doula, so how do you think that's going to affect our work? And what do you think we should be doing to be able to step up and to help support pregnant women? That's a good question.
I think your work will probably increase. You know, I don't see it really affecting you in that regard. I think you'll find more, and I would go start applying for some of this money that is being handed out so easily too. But you did bring something to mind for everyone who depends on IVF to get pregnant when they cannot. You're getting ready to lose that right in this country too, because the moment you say it's a person, when an egg is fertilized, you're not going to be doing any IVF. It's got a lot of complications here. Oh, yeah. For those of you who were not here this morning, when the defenders got here, they've had an unbelievable thing. The patients were blocked off, and they were being screamed at that it was illegal, and the place was closed, and they couldn't come in. They were blocked off for hours. The police were called 30, 40 times. Not a single one came. And that's been the norm here. And this is how we've existed in Mississippi, and for the staff and the people who work here and these defenders, God knows they need anything you can tell them, because they're heroes. They've put up with this every day. Police won't come. Let me give you an interesting story that I think you'll like. We've been calling the FBI for the past 6 years because FACE violations occur daily here, and FACE is still, I think, in effect, but they have not returned our calls. Interestingly enough, this week, the FBI showed up, asked Shannon if she recognized him, and she said, your face looks familiar, but I can't remember. And he told her, and she said, well, that's because no one's answered my call in 6 years. There's a doctor I know, he had a visit from 2 FBI agents yesterday, and they're concerned that we might do some harm to these pregnancy centers, us, the ones that have been killed, bombed, arsoned. They're concerned that with this Jane's Revenge and all the rest of that. So the FBI is on it, if that makes you feel a little more secure.
Want to go to Shannon really quickly? Shannon?
Shannon?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I was going to actually, Diane, I was fixing to speak pertaining to the FBI, and as she went on, she kind of said what I was going to say, and, it's true. We've been trying to get in touch with the FBI, leave messages. The city police won't do anything, but now all of a sudden everybody's coming out as if we're going to do some harm to them. We haven't been the ones who have been vandalizing our facility and stalking our doctors and all of this, and all of a sudden now they need protection from us. We're inside of a building taking care of patients. They're outside harassing everybody, holding up traffic, and they need protection from us. I find that unbelievable in Mississippi. That lets you know a lot that's going on in Mississippi right now.
Is it really a Democratic organization here? In power?
I think it's safe to say that abortions won't end in Mississippi even after this.
You're absolutely correct.
What do you think the outcomes could be for many Mississippians who choose to seek an abortion?
I think the state will seek them and imprison them for a long time if they're caught, and take much, I guess, gratitude in doing that. Sad. But, you know, women, I think they will definitely stop. Telehealth is not legal here anyway. So, yeah.
Questions?
Can you speak to the funding
Yes, there are funding. There are many organizations in this country, and have been for at least the past 4 or 5 years, that have done immense funding for women who were not able to afford these services, or like in Mississippi, where so many women in the Delta or in rural areas had to take off work, had to find child care, had to make 2 trips. And so that's how they evolved. But in the last few days, I've heard of funding groups getting immense contributions from people because they realize, you know, this is going to hit the most vulnerable woman. If you're a woman of privilege, you can take a flight to New York and be home by dinner. But that's not who we're talking about generally in Mississippi or in our other southern states. Y'all have been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming, and please keep it up there. Keep it out there, and look up what Clarence Thomas said and who he's after next. Women in.
And if you think today was something, you should be here tomorrow.
That's
Not
true.
really. If you are, please stay out of the way, because I wouldn't be surprised if they have 200 protesters out there tomorrow.
They won. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Thank
you
you all so much. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Shannon.